Hello, I'm Gillian Stead. I was Gillian Fairhead, and the Fairheads ran the Itteringham Village Shop for nearly most of the 1900s, right through till 1994. The shop's been there since 1637, so quite a few years, and my family started it, my grandfather started it in 1907, or that sort of date, and then my father left grammar school and went to help him in 1933, and he was there with my mum until 1994 when he died. Just before he died, the community started, well, they were brilliant. They really helped my mum, they helped my dad with all the deliveries and the groceries, the ordering. And then after he died, they thought, because he was such a character in the village, he was always helpful and community orientated, they just took on the shop. It was really excellent. So they've been doing that for 26 years now. And we've had a few adversities, as you could call it, like in 2016, the landlord then wanted to evict us. So we had a massive Save Our Shop SOS campaign to save the shop. So that's what we did. And in the end, the people who wanted to evict us, because they were in the house attached to the shop, obviously where I grew up, they sold the whole property. And we were really lucky because Norwood District Council bought it. So we lease it now permanently for 99 years from the Norwood District Council, which is great because it's a community asset for them and it keeps the shop in the village.
Can you just talk a little bit about your role at the organisation? What's your role?
Right, my role is I'm on the committee. So there's not many on our committee. We could do a few more volunteers, but with a very tiny village community, like just over 100, I think we've exhausted over the last 26 years all the volunteers, so we're sort of seeking a little bit wider. And I'm on the committee and we make the decisions about the everyday running alongside everybody else, obviously, in the coordinator. And Mike and I especially plan events, so fundraising, so anything. We don't make a big profit, if any. We have to fundraise for every single alteration, or if the fridge breaks down, we just have to fundraise. So last year we organised open gardens in the village, which was amazing. Everybody really loved it, and people love it if they come in, like, you know, people who've come down from Norwich or somewhere, and I just say, well, I used to live here, and that's my picture of my dad and my granddad. They just love the story, just love the story. So I'm really lucky and privileged to be able to still be around here and just share my story. It's really lucky.
And then leading on to more current affairs, what did you change to adapt to lockdown and obviously not being able to see people anymore?
I know, it hit us hard because we really are the focus, or the hub, if you like, the community. We have a cafe. We had the cafe, people came and just sat and took a book off the shelf and sat there with a coffee, you know, a bit like a library, only it was just for everybody and anybody. Cyclists, ramblers, really, it's quite a pretty area. So it was quite popular with visitors. So what did we do? Well, first of all, our customers were important, and a lot of them were shielding, a lot of them were isolating. So we organised that we reduced the hours of opening 10 till 2. So then we took phone orders in the morning, and then these were made up and then delivered to those isolated people in the afternoon. And that's how we did it, because we needed to keep our staff safe as well as the customers. So that was the main focus, of getting supplies to the customer who couldn't get in because of shielding or isolation. So that was one. In the shop, obviously the same as everywhere else, we had footsteps and, you know, screens. Eventually we had screens up, and people had one person in the shop at a time. So down, like the photo, there's people down the road queuing, and I'm just praying it's not raining, you know. We only had paid staff. The volunteers were you know, didn't come in because we wanted, and we kept our staff very safe, and we were very aware of what needed to be done with distancing, sanitising and all those sort of things, because obviously we're an elderly population, and then the staff we had to be careful with as well. What else? Oh, stock. Yeah, that was an interesting one. Stock. It was after, because everybody panic buyed, or whatever, bought, or whatever the word is, and we found our suppliers ran out, so that gave us opportunity to explore locally and find new suppliers. And in fact, a lot of local suppliers, like the bakers, they upped the amount of bread, for instance, they made, so they could supply their customer, that's the shop.
Obviously, you said about like the volunteers and not being able to have as many volunteers. How did you manage that? How did you kind of deal with that?
Yeah, well, some people opted, and like me, I'm over 70, so apparently I'm vulnerable. Never thought of myself as vulnerable before, but hey, so I didn't put myself at risk or anyone in my family. So I just worked behind the scenes, if you like, over here in Shanghai. But other people did not want even to be in the shop, even some paid staff, which is fair enough. I don't know people's health, reasons, etc. So we cut the hours down to 10 till 2, and like literally serving and then making up the orders, and then cleaning, obviously, which was like a huge job anyway, let alone with COVID guidelines in place. So that always takes a while. So that's the volunteers. But now, what are we, 20 weeks on, is it? Quite a while. We're now going to open from 1st of August till 4, which is great because we need to get the public in. And then volunteers will start coming back in as they wish, obviously. So, and then keeping them safe with masks. And we've got masks for, just donate a 20p for a mask and sanitize as you come in. And yeah, sticking to the guidelines as much as we can, as much as people will.
How did you stay motivated throughout lockdown? Yeah,
it was interesting because obviously my dad was always motivated. He always put the customers first. Christmas time, he decorated the shop and they all exchanged presents. They had mulled wine. Do you know what I mean? It was always the focus. So it's no different. It was giving them the best deal, the best service, relieve their anxiety because, some are anxious about what's happening all around them. Some aren't technical. I mean, the signals are like you can't get mobile phone signal out there. It's really difficult out in the middle of North Norfolk. So that would be keeping them at ease as much as we can, delivering their goods, answering questions. Yeah, that was what kept us motivated. And all the adversity we've had in the past, like the 2016 eviction threats and lots of different things, it's just gelled us together, I think, as a community. And there aren't many village shops around, as you know. So yeah, you just have to keep going for the sake of everyone, really.
What surprised you the most about the lockdown?
We were adapted quite quickly, really. I think people did as well. I think they were quite pleased to have their deliveries. It's a bit like going back to when my dad did it. We used to deliver the goods, the doors were all open, he'd put the frozens in the freezer, take the money that they'd left on the table, empty all the goods out of the cardboard box and leave. I mean, they were great days, weren't they? So I think people, probably enjoyed that. And the face-to-face contact with someone, very important, would be making sure they were okay emotionally, mentally or whatever, and physically. So yeah, so that's probably a motive. The well-being of our customers would be for me, I think.
Have you made any sort of changes to the business that you think will be a permanent part of the business now as a result of lockdown, or do you think
we need to open the cafe when we can, because we still haven't, because we can't do the social distancing. So that's why we need to refit the shop and rearrange it so we've got more space upstairs. We need to be putting carpet down so we can, make it a bigger space to socially distance the people. So that's not a permanent, well, it's a goal that we're aiming for, but we need to fundraise to do that, just to fund it. So permanent decisions, hours are opening. For me, I would hope they don't stick at 10 or 9 till 4. I'd rather keep it, just catch the people on the way home from work who've forgotten their loaf of bread or whatever, if we can, and if we can get the staff in to do that.
Obviously you've kind of explained a little bit about the community anyway. How did you stay connected to the community?
Yeah, an interesting one when you can't get a mobile phone signal. Obviously, when they were on the phone to us, we'd be chatting to them about how things are going, any worries and that sort of thing. That's just a normal interaction, isn't it? Parish notices, what we're doing, where we're at, what's happening. Obviously, all for people who have it, the social media stuff like Facebook, and Mike is really good at doing Twitter, and he's always putting photos of lovely cakes on, and we're open, or 4 o'clock we're opening. He's always putting stuff on, which is brilliant. And the good old notice in the window, we will be open from the 1st of August, blah, blah, blah. People care, and that is the bottom line. It's not just what can I give you, it's how's things going, how's little Jimmy, how's Elvis, or whatever. People are interested in other people, which I think COVID has inspired that a little bit more, hasn't it? You know, people actually listen to people and have their concerns because they've got more time. We've all got more time, haven't we?
What would you like people to do? How can people support you?
Well, we obviously always need more volunteers. And that's really difficult because we're so isolated. So you might get a bus that comes into Itteringham, but it probably wouldn't take you home, certainly not on the same day anyway. But volunteers would be our main thing. Fundraising we need to do, and that's hard with just 2 or 3 of you sorting it all out. But for the shop itself, we just need to refit, and so we can get on as soon as some of this is moved on a little bit further. Then we can get the cafe going and get people coming back and enjoying the wonderful area, you know, of outstanding natural beauty that it's in. So, yeah.
My name is Margaret Ajay. I'm the Joint Hub Director at the Upper Norwood Library Hub in Crystal Palace, which is a multi-purpose space for art, performance events, library of things, professional library service, and a wide range of activities in the community.
My name is Karina Rinn, and I'm the technical manager at the Upper Norwood Library Hub, and I run the live streaming and basically anything to do with technology.
I'm Eleanor Rastall. I run a community choir in the Upper Norwood Library Hub, and since lockdown I've been volunteering as part of the live stream programme, and now I'm also interviewing as part of the current oral history project called All Alone Together.
What did you guys change? What did you have to adapt to deliver your services throughout lockdown?
On the day of lockdown, I knew this was coming, so I basically walked into the office and just said, "We're live streaming, people. We're live streaming." And people were like, "Okay, yeah, you just do what you need to do, love, and we'll see where that takes us." And I went to Eleanor and I said, "Let's live stream your singing." So on the day of lockdown, Eleanor very kindly live streamed her singing class. I don't know why I'm looking over here, but you're all over here. Live streamed her singing class, and then that snowballed into us getting Soundbath London was the next one. And between Eleanor and Soundbath London and our daily show, we have kept a daily schedule of live stream events, and people have come and gone within that. We've done kids storytelling, we've cross stitch, we've got some live music. The live music was a little bit hit and miss, but we can go into that later. Basically because somebody else in the area was doing it better than us, so we just gave up the space to them. And we tried to get as much content online as possible, and some of it was very much just one person on a phone on a camera, and then others is a produced show. And we tried to fill up as much space on that stream as we could. And now we are looking to just formalize the whole process and make it a better quality, and just put some time and effort into the technology to get it as good as possible, and make YouTube videos and more live streams come from that.
It was really impressive from my point of view how quickly everything happened, because literally lockdown happened on Monday and I was supposed to be running choir on Tuesday, and it was actually one of the most stressful days of my life, trying to work out what to do and exactly what we could and couldn't do. And Rin just said, "We'll live stream it, bring your iPad to the upstairs room, I'll show you how to do it, it's all fine." And I kind of went, okay. And I grabbed a friend who very kindly came and was taught, so I effectively taught one person for everybody else to sing along at home, and then just kind of went from there. So it's been really impressive just seeing how quickly everything happened and how it's been
such a unique thing to happen that no one was really prepared for. And it needed that knee-jerk reaction, didn't it? How did you guys kind of stay focused and motivated throughout that, with all the uncertainty sort of going around?
I knew as soon as we saw lockdown coming that I was going to be live streaming, so that's all I worried about. I didn't care about anything else. I had so much fun just trying to get people on board and trying to get the next thing on, but as soon as you get one person on, another person would drop off somewhere else. So to start with, it was just an evolving door of people, and I was busier then than I was before that.
And what was the reception like for the live streaming sessions? Has it reached anyone you were surprised by, or?
I was just going to say that I personally don't pay attention to the numbers, because if I did, I'd be like, oh, why is nobody looking at me? So I don't pay attention to the numbers. I just get on and do it. And then other people can worry about numbers.
I like that.
In terms of reaching unexpected people, we've definitely found that with the choirs. So I ended up collaborating. I run a parent and baby choir series of choirs as well with a colleague called Jake Alexander, and he has a community choir in Ladywell that's on the same night as Palace a cappella in Crystal Palace. And because we were collaborating anyway, we ended up just kind of amalgamating everything. So we've been doing daily singing breaks at 11, which is supposedly our parent and baby choir, but you know, we had Palace a cappella members and his choir members joining too. And then the same thing kind of happened with the Tuesday evenings, and we amalgamated, but we had some Crib Notes members joining that. And we know that we've had members of at least 5 other choirs, of which some of them are not South London, one of which is actually from France. We know that we had a choir member who'd gone back to Japan, then joined in as well at some point. We've had people who were choir members who've moved out of London who've been able to join. So we don't know, you know, people don't always comment on the Facebook feed and tell us where they're from, but we do know that we've actually had quite a surprising wide reach with the choir. So that's really, really lovely.
Yeah,
and I think that
incredible.
there's another dimension, which is the well-being side, the digital inclusion, which we also do online. So there's a young man called Casper. He's from the community and he runs Clear Community Web, and he used to do them in the building, and as soon as lockdown hits, he also went online. And so you've got the seniors, the vulnerable people, unemployed, a wide range of people online learning new digital skills. And also ESOL, English language skills. We've got 3 fantastic volunteers who are still working with people online. So even though the building is closed, I think life is still happening online, basically.
Such a unique thing, because obviously, you know, community businesses tend to be really rooted in the place that they're in, and you know, their impact might not go much further than a few miles, but obviously lockdown completely shook that up for everyone. Do you think there's anything that's kind of come out of this that you'll continue as we come out of lockdown, or do you think that it's just been things put in place just for now?
I think we're aiming for it to be ongoing. I think the Daily Show has shown that there is an interest in the local area for local things. So me and a lady called Barbara Gunter set that up. I needed a host. I knew I wanted to do a Daily Show, but I knew I wasn't going to be able to host it. I just don't have the love for people that Eleanor and Barbara have. You really need that if you're going to host that kind of thing. But I think it's shown that there is an idea of hyper local is what I was going for. So just keep it in our little triangle and just try and aim to support that community rather than worrying about what happens outside, but include the outside as well. I mean, it's not just a local show for local people, that kind of thing. It does go a bit further than that. So we're obviously now looking to do theatre and more production-based streams and YouTube channels and stuff like that. So I think we are hoping, I hope I'm not going to speak out of turn here, Margaret, you can tell me if I am. We're hoping to create a live stream makerspace within the library. So with the technology that we have, people will be able to come to the library and make their YouTube videos or make their live streams.
I think Eleanor mentioned the All Alone Together project, which is generously funded by the Arts Council. And through that, we've been able to invest in equipment as well. So as Rin said, we're going to move that into the library space, and, you know, people can produce high quality content using that as well.
Also on that point, because we're limited in our big event room to 100 people because of fire regulations and stuff. So if we can also live stream, perhaps behind a ticket wall for some events and then free to other events, you know, that would expand our capacity quite substantially. For it's a lovely big room, but, you know, the fire exits don't allow for more than 100 people in there. Yeah. So it is a lovely space. So if we can live stream that on a regular basis, that is definitely another arm to the library. You can think of the analogy that's better than that. I don't know what that was.
In the short term, that's actually great, because when we can't have very many people up in there for something live, that means that it's possible to still use it as a venue and kind of make it financially viable, I guess.
So we're doing that on Saturday. We've got West End Theatre.
Sunday.
Oh, well, I start working on Saturday. Sunday at 6 o'clock. Library Hub, main Facebook page. Eleanor, you can talk about that a bit more than me because I'm not performing it.
Well, I hope it's Sunday because that's what I've got in my diary anyway. So it's Daniel, who is a West End singer and also has been running the Café in the Library Hub for a while, very successfully. He's also been running West End nights around the Triangle and particularly at the Library Hub recently. And my choir was supposed to be part of the one in June, which obviously very sadly had to be cancelled. So he decided to do an online one. So he's got a small number of West End and local performers involved who are just going to do a free live streamed concert. I think he's asking for donations for the Library Hub and another really good cause, but I can't remember what it is. But it's essentially a free live stream concert. And my choir's doing a virtual choir video at the end as well. So it's a real sort of, it's a mix of local talent and West End stars that, you know, you would not normally see for free.
What surprised you? I guess both, it's hard to kind of separate the personal from the professional in this kind of situation. What surprised you most about the lockdown experience?
How busy it was. Just how busy. I thought I'd lose all my work. And actually partly because of all the Library Hub projects, it's been even busier. All the time I'd normally spend traveling, I'm spending working, which is great. So ready for a break. It's been amazing.
Yeah, I mean, what I can say though is that what surprises people's resilience actually, because I think when these things happen, you think, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? But it's resilience, it's the volunteers, it's the community, it's everybody. People like Eleanor, Rain, you know, so many people who've just come together to make this possible. But I think that for us as well, it's just, you know, we do quite a lot in the building. We earn most of our money from the building. And then all of a sudden it's closed. And it's like, oh my gosh, where do we go? What do we do? How do we survive as an organisation? But then, you know, we sort of work very closely with Lambeth Council, Croydon Council, our trustees, the volunteers, so many people. And they've been absolutely amazing. And the funders as well, Party Change, Arts Council. So I think even though we were in shock at the beginning because everything had disappeared, slowly that resilience just stood out all of a sudden. And we recognized that, you know what, it is bad, but we've got to sort of think outside of the box. And we've got to be a bit more creative and do things differently. And I think it's evidence in the conversation here today.
Can I add one more thing actually to that, Margaret, which is that doing the interviews for All Alone Together, which are usually about an hour with a huge cross-section of the community, the thing that's really struck me through every single interview has been gratitude. No matter what people have been experiencing, what the challenges have been, you know, what they've enjoyed as well, because there's always been things that people have enjoyed, I think. But the huge thing that's come out of it is just gratitude for everyday things, and for local things. And just, yeah, nearly everybody has said that they're grateful for something and that it could have been worse, you know, whatever the challenges, they know other people have had it worse. It's been really heartening, actually, really lovely.
And you kind of touched on this, but I guess when I'm talking about sort of staying connected to the people that you normally serve, how did you maintain those relationships with people? How were you kind of checking in with people?
I mean, we check in, we're trying to, I mean, we're not doing it as well as we could, but we're trying to connect with all our staff and volunteers as much as possible, you know, holding meetings, sending out emails, newsletters and whatever. But I think from the community perspective, I'd like to think that the live streaming service has actually kept us all connected somehow. I mean, the lunchtime shows are amazing. It sort of reaches so many people as well. But also, I talked about the wellbeing services that we run online. People are checking in on each other, ringing them up, you know, just connecting online. There's been stronger community spirit. And, you know, just for a very personal level, and I just want to elaborate on something that Eleanor said. Normally, when you're walking up and down the street, nobody sort of looks at you. And all of a sudden, during lockdown, when I go for my long walks, people actually stop and talk to you. They actually stop and say, hello, how are you today? And I even had one guy stop his car, wind down his window and wave at me. I was shocked, actually. So I just think that it's brought out something very different in people. And we're staying connected in different ways as a staff team, as volunteers, as colleagues, as whatever. And live streaming has been quite key to that. But also, I think that I'm seeing a very different side to the community, which is about a lot more care. And that's how we're connecting, a lot more care. And I think some of the projects that we're doing is also helping to get us connected. So, and I talked about the All Alone Together project. We've conducted a survey, and we're doing the live, the interviews as well with people. And that way we're finding out how people are doing, what they're doing, how their lives have been affected, what they're going to be doing differently now. But most importantly, how we as an organization can put in place services that help them address some of the issues that they've encountered during lockdown, but also how it can help them address concerns or maybe the aspirations for the future. So we're beginning to think about services that we can do in the building to support our community now as well.
How can people get involved? Have you got any appeals going? How can people help, basically? The floor is yours.
Where do we start? Margaret, I think you should lead this one, actually. You can chip in.
I'm actually going to do something very different, which is I'm going to ask you two to kickstart, because I think you have been, when I say on the ground, you have been in the thick of it, basically. And I think I'd like to see myself as the one behind you going, come on, do it, do it, do it. So I'm going to start with you to an end, basically. So do you want to start, Eleanor?
Sure. So from my perspective, in terms of the things I'm doing for the Library Hub, I think there's two main ways and one extra, which is that we are very much still looking for people to get involved with All Alone Together. We'd love to just contact as big a cross section of the community as we possibly can. The easiest way to do this is on our website, which is uppernorwoodlibraryhub.org, I think. Is that right? Yeah. Good. There's a survey, which is very, very short. It's 4 questions, I think. And just kind of gives us an overview of people's experiences. There's a box to tick if people are willing to be interviewed, and in that case they'll have a recorded chat with me via Zoom, which will be about an hour. So we're really, really keen to get people involved in that. So that's the first thing. The second thing is I'm always looking for local people for the Daily Show, because actually finding 5 people a week is it takes quite a lot of work, and I would be so happy if people came forward and said, I've got something I want to tell you about, can I come on your show? So that people can contact us at info@unlt.org. Cool, thanks. So yeah, we'd love to hear from people about those things. The extra little thing on the end is that we're actually looking for a co-host for the Daily Show, because it just is, we don't really know what the future holds. I don't know quite how long I'll be working from home, and we'd really like to be able to keep it going. So I think we've reached the point where another person involved would be great. So if anybody's interested in doing that, involves about an hour over lunchtime, plus a bit of work finding people and formulating questions for them and things like that, with about half an hour's live chat and updates, live stream through Facebook. So if you're happy, if anybody's interested in leading some interviews, it's a lot of fun.
Do you want to say something about the audio time capsule as well?
Sure, yeah. So the All Alone Together interviews, which are generally about an hour and are basically as in-depth as people would like to go in terms of how their life and work has been affected by lockdown and by the pandemic. The unedited interviews are, as Margaret said, for research into really what the experience has been, what the Library Hub can do to help going forward, what services maybe we can provide beyond what we're already doing. And what we're working on at the moment is actually creating podcasts out of the interviews. So taking edited sections to kind of tell somebody's overall story, based on whatever they say. So my experience of the 21 interviews I've done so far, they're all really different. It's fascinating. Like I said, there's this thread of gratitude running through all of them, and sort of surprising positivity, but actually everybody was very open, had interesting stories to tell, and some quite touching things. But they're all going to be hugely different. So we're going to end up with a sort of library of voices, or as Margaret said, audio time capsule, where in the future we can come back and just hear the community's experience told in their own words, in their own voices. It's very cool.
Is there anything else that you guys would like to talk about that you think?
I think Rin might be the next person to talk.
We are taking on 10 in this wave, 10 artists who, sorry, let me start that again. We've got a project all alone together, which will bring artistic, local artists and anyone who's got something creative to say onto our live stream channel. And we've got funding from the Arts Council to do that. It is another leg of the podcast series, which is Eleanor's on the other side of. And we are going to pick 10 projects, artistic projects, to bring onto the live stream channel. And we're not entirely sure what those are going to be yet. We've been inundated with applications, and we're just going to judging panel now. And then we're going to bring that into the library. So we're probably if somebody comes up with an idea that we film outside of the library, we'll do that. But the idea is to bring them into the library and use that space as to show what we can do live stream wise and video wise in our space. So we've got the artists for that, and we're just about to choose the artists that are involved. However, I'll be honest, I'm the only technical person in the library. So if there were folks out there who really wanted to get into sound engineering or lighting design, now would be a really great time to just come and volunteer with us. Because I can't do 4 things at once. So if anyone's out there, I mean, they can be young, they can be, I'm not entirely sure what age limit we'd have to limit it to, but if there was a couple of people out there that wanted to learn stagecraft, now is a great time to get involved, and you can email on info@unlt.org. And then we're just looking for the hosts for the Daily Show, because if we don't find one, I have to do it. And my style is very different to Eleanor's. And that gap a little bit. So I'll be taking over some of the hosting, but we definitely need someone else to come in.
Well, on my part, I'd like to say we're looking for more people to support us in the library. I mean, donations are great. We've got a supporter scheme that we run. So, you can sort of give us something, whether it's, £15, £30, whatever you can give, and become a supporter of the Upper Norwood Library Hub. And obviously, whatever you give helps us to do so much, maintain the building, but also support the well-being stuff that we do, the ESOLs, the reduced fees that we offer to the community to use the space. So we can do so much with that support. Similarly, very interested in going forward. If there are some excellent, famous people out there who want to sort of come and share their experiences with us online, we'll be happy to interview them, because obviously their experiences would be really good for people who want to get in the field. I mean, Rin has just done a classic one. If you want to actually get into the field, walk into a theatre space or whatever it is and ask the question. So there might be people out there who've got fantastic experiences who want to sort of share that with others. We want to talk to them as well. And, we are doing quite a lot in our community, and we want people to sort of get online, have a look at what we're doing, listen to what we're doing. And if they can contribute in any way, fine. I love money. So I don't want to talk money, but they both know me. I love money. I love money. So if you want to support us financially, please do. I mean, there's one thing I forgot to say, which is, Upper Norwood Library Hub runs what we call the Community Managed Libraries peer network. It's a national network. And so there's all these community managed libraries all over the place who are doing phenomenal work. And I just think that I'd like to sort of say hi to them and to really say thank you for the amazing work you're doing in the community. Because, like us, they are, some of them have actually, during the lockdown, been out there in the community supporting people, the most vulnerable, the most isolated and excluded, providing books, providing things, providing emergency support and whatever. So it's just in recognition of what the community managed libraries do in their community, and indeed all libraries. But I think there's been a hell of a lot of community businesses as well who are doing something similar. And I just think that this is the time to say thank you, but also the time to for everybody to recognise that community businesses play a vital role in the community. They play a vital role in actually people's lives, but also in transforming local lives. And that's something that we need to sort of bear in mind all the time.
The Library Live Lunch happens every weekday. I speak to a different member of the community each day. It's a sort of half-hour chat live streamed through Facebook and YouTube. We've had a huge variety of people. So we've had a lot of the local shopkeepers. We've had the traders from Haynes Lane Food Market. We've had some of the organisations like the Crystal Palace Dinosaurs, SE19 Lates, Crystal Palace Festival, Friends of Gypsy Hill, and some of the local kind of charity and I can't think of the word, social enterprises, that's the word I'm looking for. So it's hugely varied, and sometimes it's, for example, we had a lady who sort of gradually got into dressmaking in the last few years, and she's now making masks during lockdown, and she's just a local lady who I just saw on Instagram. So it's hugely varied, and the aim is to share positive and useful local information, give people a chance to find out about elements of the community in more depth, maybe things they didn't know about, and just try to keep everyone connected with the really local area.
Yeah. So get in touch with us. If you want to know more, if you want to learn from us, get in touch. And as we've been saying, visit our website. And I'll leave Rin to say that I'm not very good at these sorts of things, the website stuff, the social media stuff. So where should people contact us then?
They should go on to uppernorwoodlibraryhub.org for the website. They should join us on Facebook, where all of our live streams happen, and that is Upper Norwood Library Hub. We are also on Instagram as the same name, and Twitter, but we mostly our audience is mostly on Facebook, so we do most of our work there. But the website and that, and if you want to get in contact with us via email, it's info@unlt.org. There is a phone number, but the office is closed, so don't phone it.
Don't call that number.
If you find a number online, don't phone it.
You can see we have a lot of fun as well in the process.
Yeah, definitely.
Social media note, I think we would very much benefit from anyone who's just willing to share any of the stuff that we put out on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
Facebook's algorithm is pushing down. It was kind of opened up a little bit over lockdown, but I've now found that the spam stuff is back on again, and we can't share as much as we'd like to. And the only way people will ever find out about us is if people are sharing. Come and join the site, the Facebook site, join our YouTube channel. And then share out the content that's on there. If you like it, to your friends and family, your dogs. I don't care where you send it to, but we just need more people to share it, basically. And it's free, you guys. It doesn't cost anybody anything to share a Facebook page or any kind of content, but it helps us immensely. Give us a little heart, write a little comment, share it to one person, and that will just explode our page faster than anything else would.
And then the last one for me as well is that I think that we do such amazing stuff, and sometimes I feel that a lot of the amazing stuff we do isn't out there in the wider public domain. I'd love us to do a Guardian piece. This is an appeal to the Guardian or the newspapers, the big ones. But we'd love to do something that really tells our story and our journey. And it's been an amazing journey because, this is about a community that fought for a building, secured it. And today it's an amazing, amazing enterprise locally and supported by the community. So I'd love us to talk about our story in a bigger way. And then that way we can actually draw more people to all the things we're doing. And we've got lots and lots of experiences to share with others. So tap into us.